Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sit down and cuddle up for this one because we've got another doozy. Brian Von VA here presenting We Really Hate the Sea Now. Alright, buckle up for a long one here. For context, we're playing in a Wildmount game. Haven't heard of that one yet. There's 6 of us. Me, the Blade Singer Human, a half-orc blood hunter, a gnome artificer, a dragonborn warlock, an ASMR bard, and an elf fighter/rogue. We've been playing together for around a year and some change, and we're all level 9. For this particular mission, we'd been tasked by the Cobalt Soul to investigate some massive weapon involving the sea. Claims of it being able to change the tide, and some turf war between pirates and the coastal states. So we investigate and find this weapon is supposed to be in a temple of sorts deep under the water. We go there and spend some time looking around. Fight some water weirds, a hydra, and an undead aboleth. We had to retreat because we were too low on spells. The aboleth and the hydra didn't come after us, but we still had to deal with them. At this point, it's been roughly 8+ sessions at sea constantly fighting monsters or other pirates. A lot of us are starting to get sick of the sea. We rest up in a bubble, intent on getting to this weapon in the next day since other pirates are hot on our tail and will probably catch up soon. And we honestly just want to get the fuck out. We spend a lot of resources just finding and finishing off the Hydra. Do some more investigating and find the weapon we needed wasn't even in that chamber. It was close by though. Kick ourselves for wasting resources on a nearly pointless fight. We head out to get the real weapon, but we're then ambushed by a bunch of fiend-like monsters and a water waste. Constantly had to use resources to cure poison that would suffocate us in minutes. Managed to kill the fiends and make our way to an altar, but most of us were really hurt. Find an altar with some magical portal runes that need to be activated to take us to the inner vault where the weapon is stored. We need to charge the altar with spell slots totaling 9 levels though, and then channel power into the ritual for a whole minute straight. We reluctantly dump even more resources into this thing. An undead horde then climbs free from the soil beneath us and begins to besiege the ritual grounds. We were in a sort of large barren courtyard, hundreds of feet wide and long, so there were a lot of them. They were thankfully quite weak, so a few rounds of whirlpool, courtesy of my control water, managed to keep most of them at bay. Things got complicated and I was mind-controlled by the undead aboleth we never took care of. I ended up counterspelling a few of the bard's spells and tried to sabotage our blood hunter from keeping the ritual going. By sheer luck, the blood hunter managed to make his charisma save against a homebrew spell that surely would have ruined the ritual, and we were all pulled into the vault. We explored a bit, still feeling pressured to keep going because the air in this room was poisoned and resting here would be risky. We were also under constant threat of more pirates coming after us. We found the weapon, some sort of energy converter that imbued the user with some temporary powers. There was a way to get 5 different powers, but we only managed to get 1 to work. Something like control water, but a bigger radius with added fireball-like effects, boils water and such, but it only lasted for 1 minute. We set out to find some way to make the effects permanent. Some friendly undead who haven't lost their minds completely were around and said it was possible if we helped them with something. I should mention this vault was more like a fancy safe house with multiple large caves that led to housing for a civilization of sea elves who made some pact with devils to make this weapon to keep them safe from some off-world invasion force. These undead needed us to retrieve some of the fallen bodies that lay in some magical whirlpools nearby, 4 bodies in total. The blood hunter got 1, our fighter rogue got another, while me and the bard went to go retrieve the other 2, which happened to be in the same pool. Me and the bard have shit strength though, so we got pulled in and every round we'd take some bludgeoning damage. I quickly escaped due to some okay rolls, but our bard refused to leave without one of the bodies. He never rolled above a 5 to escape from the pool and didn't give up until the other party members got the bodies out for him. He went from roughly 69 HP to 1 HP from sheer stubbornness. It was damn hilarious, but he used some resources to stay alive. Still, we had limited time, and while our warlock could keep healing him through short rests, we couldn't sit down for long. Doesn't help the undead were slowly becoming more insane and wanted their shit done now, not later. The bodies we retrieved needed to be ritually destroyed to set another member of their faction free from a binding spell. This person knew how to make the weapon's effects permanent. We were a little apprehensive though, so we convinced the other undead to give us a moment to explore a bit. With no one with any healing left except the warlock, the bard with only a 4th level to his name, me with 1 1st and 5th level, no spells left for artificer, and almost everyone was out of hit dice and nearly bloodied, we enter the next chamber. It was a goddamn undead water dragon. We didn't realize what it was at first because it was just laying on the ground not moving. But our fighter rogue hit it a few times with their club because we were all deathly suspicious of skeletons at this point. It woke up mad and breathed at us. We tried to talk to it, and it almost let us go, but the dice gods were not having it. A series of offers regarding magical items, gems, and other items were made to appeal to the dragon, but it just didn't care enough. Roll initiative. Cue the most distressing 4 hours of my life. We tried to flee, but our blood hunter got frightened and trapped on the wrong side of this chamber. This motherfucker could also counterspell and kept countering his attempts to Misty Step out of harm's way. I wasn't within line of sight to help him out either. He ran further into the lair, which was covered by a dark fog wall that needed a wisdom save to bypass. He made it somehow, and now he was trapped in the lair of a water dragon with maybe 6 hit points, and the rest of the team was at least 100 feet away from him. I thunder-stepped our warlock near the entrance and waited. Our fighter rogue was nearby trying to make the save to enter the lair to help out. Meanwhile, the blood hunter was trying to keep the dragon from murderizing him with breath attacks. Sadly, the dice gods hated us today. The dragon got its breath weapon back every single turn. I think it was close to 5 or 6 rounds of combat in a row that it could deal anywhere from 50 to 70 damage to us, and it always rolled well. Our warlock passed the shadow barrier and broke open an artifact given to him by his backstory to use in the most dire of straits. It cast Planar Ally without cost, and we got a homebrewed Plantar to help us out. Little good it does though when now every single member of the party is inside the lair, but the lair isn't very big, and thus the dragon can use its breath weapon on all of us. Even though the DC was only 16 to pass the shadow wall, I was the last one inside the lair. I have the highest whiz save in our group and had a 5th level shadow blade to shove down its throat. I tried throwing it through the shadows a few times and only succeeded in knocking the fighter rogue unconscious. The warlock was dead, killed outright by massive damage from the breath weapon. The Plantar had to use every turn to cast mass heal to keep people alive, and then use its counterspells to counter the counterspells of the dragon. Whoo! I finally get past the shadow wall and cast a homebrew spell that lets me make more attacks. 4 attacks in this case. It would have been close to 100 plus damage with the shadow blade I had, but the motherfucker counterspelled me, and I didn't have any spells left to counter him. The Plantar tries to counterspell that counterspell, but because the dragon cast the spell at 4th level, it has to roll. Nat fucking 1. I feel your pain. Artificer sacrifices some DM given inspiration to give him a reroll. Nat fucking 2. What is this fucking campaign and how horrible is it? We decide we need more help, and the Plantar summons some allies, and we roll for how many they summon. 1d10. Oh no, we rolled a fucking 1. 1 total to help us out. It used its action to heal the blood hunter, but this dragon was barely bloodied at this point. We kept having to use the Plantar's actions to heal. Finally, he got to attack and managed to deal close to 100 damage. He did that maybe twice before he was killed by the damn breath attacks. At least now, the dragon looks like it's at death's door. The bard rolls a 20 on a death save. We all begin to hope again that the dice gods have given us a sign. It all comes down to this next round. If the dragon doesn't go down here, it's a TPK. Bard goes and rolls. A 16 and an 18. AC of the dragon? 19. Oh god. The whole table groans, and this narrator too. End of this turn. The dragon uses its last 2 legendary actions for the round to cast Ice Storm. and me, the Artificer, and the Codal go down. Next up, Fighter Rogue rolls. Nat 1 and a 12. Most of us are resigned to this being the TPK. It looks like the dice gods giveth and they taketh away. Blood Hunter's turn rolls. Drum roll, please. Nat fucking 20, thank God. With a right up, magic weapon, and booming blade, it just barely did enough damage to slay the dragon. Get fucked. How do you want to do this? Bloodhunter says some cheesy lines, regurgitating the same haughty language the dragon was using to demean us during the fight, and cuts off the dragon's head, pulverizing it with the booming energy. A wave of relief washes over us. Potion up the Artificer, who then grabs a Revivify scroll and brings back our Warlock. Warlock heals up the rest of the party. We say, fuck it, and I put up a dome to long rest. Dump the bodies out and let the other undead just have it for the stupid ritual. But not before the bard touches a wine bottle in the dragon's hoard, triggering a symbol spell and knocking 4 of us unconscious again. Though it was an intense battle, but we lived. We're all really fucking sick of the sea now, and I don't fucking blame you. Ladies and gentlemen, please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell on this channel and over on MrRipper, where we post most of our content. That being said, if you have a story that you'd like to share with us, r/MrRipper is the place to go. Links are in the description below.